Here comes another important tip from the Personal Defense Network. We're here at the Ancient City Shooting Range with the owner, Chuck Usina. Now, I have the privilege of training here a couple times a year. We come down, we do video clips, but I know that you don't let just anyone come out here and train. What's your advice to someone who's an instructor who wants to form a relationship with their local range so that they can come out and teach and apply the skills that they've been developing as an instructor to the students that might be members or might even be from outside of the club? How do you go about forming that relationship?
Well, I'd say the first thing you do is go out, introduce yourself, take him a syllabus of your training. A lot of instructors are worried about their training, but it's not so much what's written on paper, it's how they do it. So the owner needs to know what you're training. Not everybody is you or a national instructor that you go, okay, I feel comfortable to let you come in. A range has to worry about bad training reflects badly on a range. So you need to take him a video, take him something to show exactly what you're training and how. Besides that, if you just have a good attitude when you go in, it's great. When I get somebody who comes in and says, you don't know how much I can help your range out by letting me come here and do this, it kind of turns me off immediately because they're kind of full of their own self. And I'm worried how that's going to come over in their class when they teach.
So you're looking for someone who, A, has an actual curriculum, has already had a plan that they know how to teach, they want to teach, they know what they want to teach. You want to see a sample of how they teach, you want to see that video.
Right.
Would that also work if they invited you to a class at some other facility first, or
That would be
is it a
great.
lot easier to show up with a video?
I have done that before.
Okay.
I have had people come here when I first opened. They wanted to teach. I have just showed up at their class. They didn't know I was there. I showed up, I saw what they were doing, and would say yay or nay to letting them come here. And when I didn't let some come here, I did tell them why. I want them to know why. A lot of them have become very good instructors and very good in other areas of Florida right here. Down south, there's one in particular. He's really worked his way into the civilian market and he's doing very well. But at the time, I didn't feel comfortable. And that's my decision as a range owner. I have all the liability here.
Absolutely. So once you've made that introduction, you've presented the material that you want to teach, and hopefully you've been able to give some kind of a demonstration or provide a video. If you get a no, I think it's fair to ask why, because that'll let you know what you need to improve, or maybe you guys can come to some agreement, or maybe there was a misunderstanding, or maybe you're just going to decide as the instructor that that's not a range that you're going to be able to work with, or maybe even that you want to work with. But having that conversation is really the starting point.
It is. It really is, because things need to be clarified on what they want to do. Sometimes it's just a matter of fact that I already have two instructors doing this same class, and I don't like overloading the range with this class because all the instructors, they starve then.
Sure.
And you don't want them all to have 5 people in a class. You want them to fill their class. So that's the other aspect I have to look at. How many carbine classes can I do in a year? I can't do one every month.
Right.
You're never going to fill them all. They're a little bit longer, more expensive. So that's another aspect, but some are better than others. And sometimes you want somebody to come in to teach a particular skill set. So that's how I make my decision on those.
So you might have a specialty class where you're able to say, hey, okay, I get it. I can't teach, CCW and home defense and women's defense and vehicular counter ambush and all that stuff, but maybe you are the only guy in town for vehicular counter ambush, and that's going to be what the range lets you come out and teach.
Right. And many specialized classes have their own day, and it's great. Breaching. Somebody wants to do a breaching class. Not a lot of people do them. That's a great class, for people to do. But when you do get into the common classes, there's a lot of people doing it. So
Right.
if you specialize in a class, sell that one. You might end up working into doing the carbine because another instructor might drop because he's not getting enough students, and people love you in particular, and I want to come to Rob's class. And they will come to your class, and so you've rolled into that position at that point.
So another fact would be that if you can get your foot in the door just by teaching anything, maybe even by being a range officer, maybe just by helping out, whatever you can do to establish yourself in that community might eventually lead to you being able to use the range.
Exactly.
Okay. And then the last thing is, I want to know from your perspective, how important is the resume? In other words, when some guy comes in and says, well, I was this, I was this, I was this, I took this class, I took this class, is that incredibly important, or is that not important at all? Where is that?
It's not as important to me if I see a video of them or if I go to a class and I see what they're teaching, their fundamentals, because literally, let's take one of your instructors who was in the military 2 years, 3 years, got out, civilian life, wants to instruct, they came and took your class, they clicked with it, they work really good with it, they do the class very well. I don't view him any worse than somebody who's been 15 years doing this, but they're really teaching 15-year-old stuff that's really not applicable anymore. So for me, the new guy is just as good as the other gentleman who's been doing it for years. So the resume is important to let you know what kind of background somebody has, but is not the end all for my decision on whether somebody can come in or not.
And I think that makes perfect sense. I agree that at the end of the day, the resume may help with the marketing, may give you a foot in the door a little bit again, but at the end of the day, if you can't teach or you can't teach well, the range officer, the range owner probably shouldn't let you out there to run that class.
Right, right.
Well, great, Chuck, I really appreciate that. That's important information. If you're an instructor, you're interested in becoming an instructor, or right now you're thinking, I'm got a very successful business, but I want to form new relationships. All the advice that Chuck gave you comes from his years of experience running an amazing range down here and working with a lot of instructors. Again, I feel privileged to be able to train here, and I know a lot of the other instructors that get to come to Ancient City feel the same way. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, sir.
Be sure to check out the Personal Defense Network for more important tips just like that one.